There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, because we know y'all be meddling all up in what we got going on this podcast, I'm excited because, and I know I always say that, but no, when I first just got the idea that I just wanted to talk to people, this young lady was actually one of the first that I was like, oh no, we have to talk. We have to talk. For so many reasons, for so many. Without further delay, I'm not going to do all of that. Keona, welcome.
Hello. I'm so happy to be here. You don't know, all day I was just like, you know what? No, I'm going to do this to get it out the way just so I can be here, have a clear mind. Nobody walking around, running around. Don't ask me nothing right now.
Yes!
I want to be fully focused in this moment.
You giving full focus. You can,
yes.
I mean, look, this was on here 15 minutes early and I was like, oh, she wants them. She wants
focus.
I had to throw my shirt on, like, really? This is what we given. So thank you. Thank you very much. It's just not enough. It is not enough. Like often on the God Hour, I'll talk with people, and sometimes it's kind of a light, easy discussion, and sometimes we get into the nitty gritty. And I feel like with you, we're gonna get a mix of both.
Mm-hmm.
And people, I always take like a gentle approach with that, because as someone who has survived multiple things, and I'm still learning to heal through the process, I think people get so caught up in the story that they forget, this is somebody that is living through the experience. So
yes,
very gently, and I'm going to follow your lead, ma'am. But we ain't gonna start out gentle. We're gonna get into these icebreakers, okay?
Okay.
All right. And answer however you feel. First thing that comes to mind. Like a few of them will just be kind of choice.
Okay.
That might be nosy and be like, okay, so why you pick that? But just go with the flow, all right?
All right.
Okay. All right. Margarita or martini?
Margarita.
Okay, all right. Heels or tennis shoes?
Tennis shoes all day.
Let me tell you, and I knew the answer to this because it fits at the anti-mean girl brunch.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm like, hold up, that's the one, man. That's the one. Okay. All right, here we go. If you were stuck on an island, who would you want to be stuck with?
My husband.
Absolutely. I knew that one too. Like, ice, what's up, ice? DJ Ice Love, y'all. Y'all know this is right.
Yes.
Okay. What is one of your unconditional, immovable boundaries?
My no is no.
Hold on. Right. No, for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Period. All right. No comma. No semicolon. It's a period. No.
Yeah. Has it always been that way?
No. Okay. Not at all. Like, it was a work in, and still is a work in progress to get to the point where I can stand on no.
That's right. Yeah. And how do you feel after you say the no, you firm up in that joint, you like, what is the inside doing?
So honestly, I will say it's a process on the inside, because then, like, at first I start to feel bad, like, oh, well, Keona, you could do X, Y, and Z, or it won't even take that long. No. I said no.
And that's it.
Yeah. So it's like a lot of self-talk that I have to have with myself.
Absolutely.
To stand on the no.
Absolutely. Let me tell you something. Because I'll say what I'm learning is to say no without the explanation.
Yes.
No. And then if somebody is studying me, I know they're looking at me like, no, she already changed your mind, because what I'm doing is like taking that in, like, okay, I heard myself, and that's it, Janelle. You bet not say nothing after that.
Yeah.
You bet not.
Yeah.
Okay, cool beans. Because the other thing, and tell me what you think about this before we go on to these other questions. The other thing that I'm learning at this big grown age is to really observe the way that the method of the ask. Like, the biggest thing for me is when somebody comes to me, because look, I ain't got no money, first of all. So it's like, girl, how you get to me? Like, now, come on now, I'm your mama. You know damn well I'm broke now. How you get to me? But then I started really applying it across the board. Like, how did you get to me?
Mm-hmm. What's your motive?
What's your motive?
Mm-hmm.
You got family, you got mama, daddy, siblings, and you pick me. Okay, who you owe?
Exactly. What other bridges you didn't burn?
Come on, Jinxie, did you?
Yes.
What other bridges you didn't burn?
Okay.
That part. Okay, see, I love my people. Alrighty. Finish the sentence. I can do all things except.
I can do all things except stop dependent on God.
Come on now. Come on now. What do you regret, if anything?
I regret not knowing my worth sooner in life.
Mm, mm. Told y'all this was gonna be good. Who's your go-to person?
My husband.
Okay. Come
And
on.
my,
I didn't think that. Yeah.
my
Yeah.
husband, and then after my husband would have to be my mom.
Okay. There we go. Alrighty. Okay, finish the sentence. To know me is to know
that my words may come off harsh, but they mean well.
Okay. Okay. You give that Claire Huxtable vibe.
Yeah, because I'm still learning this as well, that the way that I speak something can like discount the message.
Okay.
So I'm
Yeah.
learning how to say something, even if it's true.
Yeah.
I'm learning how to say something with the intention on it not hurting to the
Okay.
person where they're at the moment.
Okay. Okay. You see me taking it in,
Yeah.
because girl, when I tell you, I will go from 0 to like, because like I'm like, I don't even really try to go like to 3 and aiming at 7. So now I'm at 1,000, and here we are.
And here we are.
Here we are. Thank you for that one. I'm taking it in, girl. Okay. Best advice that you received to date.
That my past doesn't define who I am
Come on now.
currently.
That's right. That's right. Okay. Keeping along those same lines, worst advice you received to date.
The worst advice I received, I would have to say, it was during a time when I had lost someone, and it was that cliche saying that, oh, God always gives his toughest battles to his strongest soldiers. I hate that saying, and I wish people would stop saying it.
Absolutely.
Stop it.
Can the people please take note? Like, don't say it. I find it best when you are trying to support your loved ones, your friends, acquaintances, colleagues, whoever who have experienced loss. How about you just don't say anything?
Just be
like a girl. Let me just be present.
Presence is a gift.
Yeah. Yep. That's it. Or even I was reading something the other day, and I was like, this makes a lot of sense. And I had actually shared this with a girlfriend a few years back who had lost both of her children in a fire. And the article was like, what do you say? What do you say? And for some reason, she felt like she was in a position to kind of advise people to be, girl, that ain't your place. And one of the things that I took from it and that the article shared was, let's remove the how can I help? What can I do for you? Let's say specifically, I'm going to drop some groceries off, or I'm coming over today to do the dishes, or I'm going to vacuum today. Ain't nobody in no space to be like, well, this is what I need. It's like, yo, I'm trying to figure out how to breathe.
Okay.
Just show up. So
just show up for me.
Can't stand toxic positivity. Can't stand
it. Yeah.
Okay. All righty. Which of these two do you align with the most? Peeping the scene or life of the party as it relates to you?
Peeping the scene.
High five. Same. Because I feel like in my days of being the life of the party, I missed so much and probably saved myself so much heartbreak from girl and friendship, lifeship, all that. Like, girl, you too busy trying to shuck and jive. Like, look around you.
You're doing too much. And that's exactly why I don't have mega knees now, because I was doing too much back then. The knees is broke down now. They broke down now because I did too much back then.
Yes. Now I'm the auntie at the table, peeping over my sunglasses.
Okay.
Who is that? Who is that? Check your house. Somebody just walked up my house. That's me now. Okay. And let's see. Okay. Last 2 questions. What is your biggest personal lesson to date? And then what is your biggest lesson in business to date?
My biggest personal lesson is that with every failure, it's an opportunity for me to grow.
Mm.
And I feel like that can also go with business as well, because the thing
Yeah.
that I don't necessarily thrive in is a way for me to step back, pivot, and maneuver it into something else.
Come on now.
Yeah, so I think that goes for personal life, relationships, as well as business transactions, business friendships. I'm sorry, business relationships, not friendships, because I feel like the two are separate.
Girl, come on now.
Yeah, I feel like the two are separate. So yeah, I think just being able to understand the things that I don't necessarily do well, because I don't do all things well. So
Mm.
I don't necessarily do well. I can step back, for one, realize who on my team fills that gap in doing it well. And then recognizing that, hey, this is the area where there's growth for such and such. This is the area where I need to hire somebody else. This is the area
Yeah.
where I need to leave it alone and go completely, a different direction. So learning when not to keep pressing an issue when it ain't for me.
Okay. Keona, I like that. And we're gonna I'm gonna actually have you introduce yourself. We're gonna start right there. But
Okay.
You just gave me something that I've been struggling with as it relates to like projects. Just trying to trust that, like, okay, no, you don't know it all, Janelle, and your help is right here. Like, they're here, they're showing themselves. Like, it's okay to embrace people. I struggle so bad with that, just across the board. Colleagues, I will plan an entire event by myself because I don't know. So yeah. Okay,
and you know
thank
what?
you.
I get that too, because like, and I don't want to go too deep because
Do your thing.
okay, so growing up, I grew up with a mom who did it all, her and my grandmother. I seen strong Black women doing it all, and that carried over into me and me trying to do it all. And it's just like, Keona, these people are here to help you. Why are you carrying all these bags when you have somebody that is literally willing to help you carry the load? Stop being dumb, girl.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah.
But it's still a work in progress.
I was just talking to somebody yesterday, and they said, that's a trauma response, and
It
it's an affliction of Black women. Like, no, I have to do it all, and don't trust anybody. Like, that's something that's also poured into us. Don't trust nobody. I can remember one of the things that I still hold on to a certain degree, but I'm also learning where it came from my mom, is don't have no whole bunch of people sitting up around you. Don't have no whole bunch of women sitting up around you. Well, she was hurt because somebody that sat up around her ended up with my father. So she's like, and she's carried that thing for close to 70 years now. Yeah. And I would kind of carry it as a badge of honor, but then I'm like, no, I think it's a little easier for me. I don't trust anybody. You got to give me a reason not to trust you. I'd rather be on that side of the fence. Now, once you give me the reason, you ain't got to worry about me no more. But until
I know how to deal with you.
Yeah.
If I deal with you.
If I deal
because I don't have to.
All right, so we're gonna get to this nitty gritty. Keona, before we get all into it, tell the people who you are. Like, they like, girl, y'all talking.
I know. So I am Keona McKell. I am a business owner. I'm a minister in training. I'm a bonus mom. I'm a wife. I'm a sister. I'm the oldest daughter.
Wow.
Yeah, I have many hats.
Oh my goodness, yes. Okay, wait a minute. So, minister in training.
I am, yes.
Okay.
I actually am, and I will be ordained at my church, First Christian Community Church, in October. I didn't even see that coming, honestly. Let me say that.
Come on, man.
I didn't see that coming.
Talk to me about that, because I know we got some ground to cover, but I got full body chills twice when you said that.
Yeah, I definitely didn't see that coming. I felt like it was one of them things where you try to run from a title because you don't want to carry the weight of it, even though you're already doing the work. So it was and it still is something for me to get adjusted to, because I know what God has called me to do, and I feel like sometimes people allow the title of what they're doing to overpower the relationships that they can build.
Oh, right now.
And I never, ever, ever, and that is like something that I pray all the time. I never want the title of anything, whether it be business owner, mom, friend, wife. I never want the title to overpower the relationship, because I have the connection than the title of anything.
Yeah. And since we're talking about callings, and I feel like we have multiple callings. things. I believe that. And they just kind of show up when they're supposed to. But in this present space, what's your calling? What do you feel your calling is as it relates to ministry?
I feel I'm called to people who are incarcerated or previously incarcerated and re-navigating how to re-enter society. The street people, the people who are often forgotten about, overlooked, the underdogs, the people who are in the communities who tend to be in the back. I feel like those my people.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I was in a facility today, and it was so I was like, you know what? I don't want to get worked up today because I knew, we were having that conversation. But in one of the facilities that I visit, the group that I work with, they are 19 to 22. And I was telling my son earlier, I said, I actually prefer the days, as crazy as it sounds, I prefer the days when it takes a lot to get everybody in order and that everybody just kind of showing off a little bit, because my heart doesn't feel as like choked. And I'm like, come on, y'all, chill out. And we haven't had a lot of those days lately. When I come in, everybody is calm and we talk, and we got guys facing like 60 years and they baby. And one thing they know in my role, like I'm gonna color outside the lines. I have to, as a mother of 2 returning citizens. I got a cousin who is coming home very soon, that's been gone since I was 15.
Wow.
And the way that thing has just chewed, I'm telling you, I didn't realize how much it affected me. Keona, to this day, and he's been writing for 34 years, to this day,
wow,
I take months, like seasons change before I'm actually able to open the letter and can't even read them. You know what I mean? Like all through, I still feel like a 15-year-old. So just so many things, in space. But I say that to say today was one of those days when everybody was very attentive and we just having deep discussion, and like we went over our time. Like I'm waiting for somebody to be like, I'm ready to go. And I'm like, okay, get me too. We didn't get that today. So let's start there. Your relationship with re-entry started at entry.
Yeah.
Talk to me.
So it started with me entering the place where, and my chair just keep going down by itself. You see that?
It's all right. Look, I see your beautiful face. I see
it. So it started with me actually being the person that I needed. So of course, at the time, I didn't understand this is what I needed, but being on the other side, I realized this is what I needed. Because when you're in a place of incarceration, you really, these people come in and out every single day. And you have a lot of people where I was in Alderson, West Virginia for the majority of the time that I spent, which was 5.5 years. So I was in Alderson, West Virginia, a very known racist state towards us. And so you had minimal people who looked like us, but people who wanted to use women sexually because they knew that our voice didn't matter there. They knew that most people wouldn't believe us. I can literally recall a time I was sitting up on my bunk and I watched an officer go into a room like diagonally across from me. It was probably like after count time, so between like 12 midnight and 3 a.m. And he went in and he had sex with this woman. I can hear her saying no. And in my heart, I was upset with myself because I didn't speak up for her. But I knew that the retaliation would be against me and my family, me not being able to see my family because I would speak up for her. But just seeing her day after day after day after that, and knowing that this man was doing this to her for so many years, she had been there 10, 12 years at that point. And he was doing it to her all the time. So just knowing that she needed somebody just to even talk to. Like you said earlier, just to even show up for her, just to come over to the cell and say like, hey, how are you today? What's going on? You got some coffee? Because, they love coffee.
Absolutely.
You got coffee?
Gold up there.
You got your coffee, you got cream. And you know what? I started buying coffee and I wasn't even a coffee drinker. But just for me to be able to connect with her on a level that I knew she needed somebody and she didn't have that person. And I could see what she was going through. But Me just being able to walk into a place that was so full of darkness and being able just to shine a little piece of light. Because no matter how much darkness is around, you could have a tiny flashlight on your phone. The light is going to appear in all of the
That's
darkness,
right. That's right.
no matter how big the light is. So
Absolutely.
just my little piece of light, I felt was helping, the darkness that was around.
Yeah, yeah.
Hope I even answered the question. I'm sorry.
No, girl, you are good. How old were you?
When I was incarcerated, I was
Yeah.
gone from when I was 21 to I was 27.
Jeez.
So those pivotal years where I should have been learning, certain things in society, I was learning them behind prison walls. I was learning them secluded from everyone else, grounded, rooted up on a mountaintop with racist officers and broken women.
It just it put a pause in me. You know what I mean? It puts a pause in me. I remember going into MCIW for the first time. And for those of you who are watching who are not familiar with the women's prison in Maryland, there's only one. So everybody from every county, all ages, they end up there. And my first time going in there was not as a re-entry navigator, but I was managing a program, automotive program, and we were trying to recruit women into the industry. So we would go. But on this particular day, we were invited by the warden to attend a Black History Month program.
Okay.
And this was in like June. And she was like, look, because of security and everything, we weren't able to have it in February, but I made a promise that they could have this event. So I'm excited. I'm like, oh, okay, I get to go on for the first time. And my girlfriend, Nikki, was like, listen, and she was my manager at the time. She was like, listen, this is not like the men's jails. Like, you're going to go in, you're going to see the Brendas, my mom, you're going to see the Jaylens, like, you're going to see your grandmother and them, like, and Janelle, it's a, so I'm like, okay, to me, I'm like, I'm a G girl, if I can deal with seeing my sons and my brothers and stuff, out walking in there, and then years later, eventually doing workshops behind that fence, it changed my life. It really did. It changed my life. It just made me want to be so gentle with so many women. Like, I'm looking at my daughters, my girlfriends, my mom, like, you're looking at that and you see the ways that they can't speak out.
Right.
When if they could, like just blinking their eyes in a certain way.
Yes.
And not being able to do anything. And then seeing the women who have been there 30, 40 years. I tell everybody, jail grade is different. It's different. It's not, when it looks different in there. And it shifted me in so many ways. Now, the blessing in that is, and recently I've started to see some of the women that I worked with when I was there, because I haven't been at the jail since like last year, but the ones who are returning to Baltimore City, they reach out to me. I'm getting to see them be successful. So I'm like, girl, and just putting them up, like hugging them, like, girl, we are not behind the fence. We're not behind there. So, and you were there, you said 7 years?
I was sentenced to 82 months, but I did 5.5 years.
5.5 years.
Yes, on a 7-year sentence.
And the first day, or whenever you walked in there, what do you recall anything from that moment? I'm sure you can't forget most of it. But.
Right. I remember because I wasn't fortunate to have the opportunity to self-surrender because I was in a federal prison. I wasn't in a state prison. I was in a federal prison. And so I wasn't afforded the opportunity to self-surrender. So that means from my court date, I was immediately taken to jail. And so being in the courtroom, hearing this lady read off all these accolades, and I'm just looking like, who are you talking about? Because that's not me. That's not me. I had all these like character letters, and she read them, and you still said all these things about me. And I'm just like, hold up. This ain't about to go how we thinking it's gonna go.
Yeah.
And so hearing her read up all these months, 12 months for this and 50-something months for this. And I, like, honestly, I turned to my lawyer and I said, how many years is that? Because in my mind at that moment, I could not process
Yeah.
The counting wasn't, the 12s were not multiplying fast enough. And I'm just like, how many years is that? So I'm just like, wait a minute, this is a lot. And so I remember after they read out the entire sentence, I looked back at my mom and my grandmother.
Mm.
And so those are the two women who raised me. And the look on their faces broke me, but I could not allow them to see me cry in that moment. So I had to hold it together because I knew if I cried, the courtroom wouldn't have been a good place at that moment. So I held it together. But when I got to the back, I was by myself. I broke down.
Yeah.
And so my lawyer came back there, just was like, don't give up fighting, don't give up fighting. And I'm just like, what am I supposed to do?
Mm.
What am I supposed to do? Like 7, and in my mind, I thought that I had to do the entire 7 years. I'm like, 7 years of my life, I'm supposed to be in prison? No. And so I go, they finally take me to the jail hours later. And so I get there, all these different women. Some of them I thought was men, but they're really women looking at me. And I'm just like, what's really going on? And so in that moment, I knew that I had to put up this wall where I could not allow anybody to see me weak.
Mm.
And that night, the first night I got there, I didn't have a roommate. And so I was by myself. I cried the entire night.
Yeah.
That entire night I cried. I didn't call home, but I cried that entire night. And so I told myself, you can cry tonight, but tomorrow starts a different day. Feel how all the stuff that you want to feel tonight, but tomorrow we got to start it. Tomorrow's day one. And so day one, I felt in my mind, I felt like it would be different because I just was like, I can't cry every single day. And so, days go by, but I remember I was so bitter. I was so bitter at first because I felt like everybody else owed me something and not really realizing that I also had to take accountability for the part that I played and not realizing that the part that I played was my responsibility. It wasn't anybody else's responsibility but my own. And I feel like when I realized that, which was like 2 years later, time began to move differently for me. It wasn't me just counting off days, but it was me realizing that I can still live life here as well. Life didn't stop while I'm here. That's right. So it just looks a little bit different. The location changed, but it looks a little bit different, but I still have purpose.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
When you had that realization of, okay, I still have purpose, because let me actually say this first. I feel like on the outside, people really assume that the programming is top notch in there. Like, oh my goodness, you have vocation, you can do that. And we know that the firewall, if it's a computer, you better not touch it or look on that little word processor. It ain't all that it's cracked up to be.
Not at all.
So with the realization of, wait a minute, I have purpose. So it's a twofold question. What were your plans prior to your incarceration? Like, okay, I'm 21, like, okay, life is starting. And then once you get in, 2 years goes by, you like, okay, wait a minute, since you got to start living. Purpose. And how did those two paths intersect while you were incarcerated?
So before I was incarcerated, what I wanted to be in life was a brain surgeon. I wanted to be a brain surgeon. I have always been fascinated with the way people think and how the brain powers the entire body, send signal. I've always been fascinated with that. Like,
that is such a dope thing to be interested in. That's like really dope, Keona. Like,
I mean, like when I watch shows, like now me and my husband watching The Resident, when it comes to the neurological stuff, I be tuned in. Don't say nothing to me.
Yeah.
Tuned in. And I'm like, oh, she got a brain bleed. Oh, she got a, like, I can call it out. That's what I wanted to be. And so I feel like that pivoted when I was incarcerated because I still was fascinated with the way that people think, but it showed up differently, if that makes sense. I started to talk to people to really gather why you do the things that you do, why I
Mm.
did the things that I did. And I even began to journal. Like I have a journal from it starting probably like the 5th or 6th month I was incarcerated up until my release. And I have been holding it because I do know that I'm supposed to release it, but I have a journal of my entire time pretty much, almost every day.
Oh
For
yeah, you need to when you're ready, because like we said, I'm not sure if we were recording at the time or what, but remembering that yes, it's a story, but this is my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you are ready to, girl, go ahead and publish that thing so we can get on that New York best time. And I can be screenshotting the podcast. Like,
Yes.
see what she has said, and yeah, like
Yes.
for real, man, for real.
Yes. Yes, I'm telling you. So it showed up differently then because I just started to just have like make relationships with people, and the relationships showed me why people do certain things. Like society may look at them as, somebody who's they'll just throw away and, a prostitute, but you're not really realizing that her father was the first one that touched her. So she learned that her body will get her in places in life because her father showed her that.
That's
You
right.
don't realize that, but talking to somebody, you realize why she feels like she wants to sell her body. Why this guy feels like he has anger issues and he don't want to hear a woman say no. You don't realize what people do until you talk to them.
That's right. We will sit on the outside and be like, that don't make no sense. And it's like, yo,
Yeah.
it absolutely wouldn't make sense to you if you knew the truth behind it. Like that's your judgment.
Exactly.
But if you talk to the people, you think he's spinning now? Now, one thing that I appreciated about the female population is we're gonna find our tribe. We
Okay.
gonna find our tribe. And with me working with primarily men now, I tell them, oh, y'all big different. Y'all really do. And I'm like, not that anybody wants to be laid back and just like, oh, I'm good. Women, once they are comfortable and they form that collective, like just seeing how they support one another. Like,
Yes.
come on, did you eat today?
Yes.
Go on myself, get that honey bun for her, because see, you can't be here. Miss Johnson on me, hold your glass up. But we've been on her about eating, and then we have an entire discussion around that.
Yes.
With men, it's like, I can't be vulnerable. And I get it. You know what I mean? They're a different type of species. But one of the things that I take the opportunity to do when I go in and have my workshops, girl, I be having them doing breath drops. And I'm like, look, CEO, we ain't in here doing them wrong. Like, we look to release this. And I tell them, I know that you don't sleep at night. Like, you're busy listening for the changes in the environment.
Yeah.
So in here, I want you to know when you walk through that door, you can drop it a little bit. And then I'll make them laugh because you can see the lumps forming and I'm swallowing, like, Miss Johnson, go ahead. So then I'll be like, and you know what? You can be free because I can fight. Like, what am I going to do? You know what I mean?
Period. I can fight.
So if anybody, look, but one of the times in MCIW, it was so, it checked me because I had to remember, like, you go home. So it's easy for you to talk to, just let's breathe in this space of Janelle. You don't know who in here, even in this class. Somebody could be plotting on somebody. But I would have them, I would say, you can close your eyes. I'm sitting right here. I'm watching. Don't worry, I'm watching and I can fight. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Let's just do a couple of breath drops. And the struggle that it would be, and they would be looking at me like I want to close my eyes so bad. But so I started saying, okay, close your mind's eye. So you can keep your eyes open, but close your mind's eye. But one of the last workshops I did in there, everybody closed their eyes. Girl, I couldn't get out that compound fast enough. I got in that van and I mean, ugly cried because I knew what that meant for them.
Yes.
Like, you trust me, you trust the space. So
yeah.
So exit, okay, we get into the incarceration, and then what a lot of people don't know is that is it a certified firefighter?
Yes, I'm a state certified firefighter, and
come on now,
come in either. So that is actually something that happened while I was in Alderson, West Virginia. They had one of the programs they did have.
Okay.
As a firefighter. Why? Because the town didn't have enough firefighters.
Get out.
Yeah. So they had firefighters from the prison. And I mean, like, you actually have to be state board certified. You got to take a physical. You have to take a state test. You have to get a certain above 79%, I believe, to pass. Like and it was certain requirements. Like you couldn't be somebody doing life. You couldn't be somebody who had, 40 plus years. You couldn't have like a violent crime. There were certain requirements where you couldn't have certain things in order for you to even apply to be on the fire department.
Okay. So what was it when you saw it, the flyer coming around, as I'm sure they had multiple other flyers, what was it that made you say, okay, you know what? All right, let's see what this one is giving.
Honestly, I felt like it was just something to do to pass the time at first. And I was just like, I can do this, and while I'm taking the test, when I tell you, I give it up to them because that thing was so hard. When we get to the part where we had to carry a dead weight body, it's like it's not a real body, but it's like a dummy, but the weight is real. It was about 170 pounds, and we had to carry it over this barrier that's like a teepee, and it's like shaped like this. You had to walk up one side with this body strapped over your shoulder and down another side, up a ladder with this body on you, not drop it.
Wait a minute, you talking about you give it up to them? Yo,
right. Listen, and that Alderson, West Virginia heat, y'all think this heat something? That Alderson, West Virginia heat is and we were on a mountain. So it felt like the sun was right here all the time. Like, back up a little bit. Back up, please.
Yo, that is like and how long was the program?
Oh, I don't even remember. But the testing, I want to say 8 months. Wow. And that has been a little longer because you prepare for the test for a month period of time. And so once you're preparing for the test, you take the test, and they also, if you do not pass the test the first time, you get a retake. You do get a retake one time. But your girl passed on the first time, so I didn't need a retake. I didn't need a retake.
Yo, and then the physical agility part. So with you carrying and doing all of that, was that a first time pass too? Like you had to, all of that was all in one. Wasn't okay, you passed the written part, didn't pass this part, like you had to do all of that.
Both the physical and the written, I passed the first time. I didn't have to retake anything. And so like while you're training, you have like a coach that times you because certain things have to be done within a certain period of time. Like you had 20 seconds to get over this, the housing thing. You have 30 seconds to get up this ladder and then down. You have 45 seconds to do this. So you have a certain period of time that you have to do these things within. And then if you don't do them within that certain time, you have a minute and a half to get the hose off the truck, hook the hose up to the fire hydrant, get your water running, and actually spray, certain amount of feet. You have to be able to do these things within a certain time frame. If you don't, then you fail. So I passed physical and written.
Girl, go paid in my most deep Black auntie way because that I'm listening right now. I can take a written test, right? And in my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna. Girl, they put me out there amongst the mountains and all that dirt with all that course, and I would say, you church finger. No.
Okay.
It ain't gonna happen. Yo, that is so amazing.
And the bond that we formed together, it was just really amazing because we all had one goal in mind. We all had, we gonna pass this test. We gonna make it. And of course, there were some people who didn't, but we all were cheering each other on. It wasn't one person that's just like, oh, well, you on your own today. It was people who were studying together. Like even when we took the test, it was broken up into sections and you're in the room with other people, but you're not sitting close together. I mean, like we made our study cards together. We going on a compound and, having study time together. Like we had a common goal and we
right
together.
Now.
We help one another.
I love it. And how far into your incarceration had this opportunity presented? Like how much time did you have left?
I want to say I had 2 years left.
Okay.
Yeah, about a little over 2 years.
So you had already changed your mind, like, okay, wait a minute, let me get it together. You get the certification and then you have like 2 years left. What did the rest of that time look like for you? Even emotionally, like.
Yeah. So I started thinking about like, what's after this? Like, what am I going to do? And even to the day that I walked out, I honestly did not know.
Yeah.
But I started to think about like, what's going to be different for Keona, because Keona went in broken, upset, mad, bitter, not wanting to take accountability. Keona went in one way and came out completely different. So I knew, for one, my people had to change, my places had to change, my things had to change, my appetite had already changed. So I can't continue eating steak if I don't even like steak.
Come on now.
What sense does that make? I'm not gonna, keep indulging in the same things if I don't even like that anymore. So I had to change a lot of the things that I was doing, the people I was talking to. I mean, all kinds of things. And that brought about a lot of stuff, because when I came home, people's like, oh, you think you're too good. No, I don't think that I'm too good. I just know that you're in the same place where I left you. And so if you're in that same place, you want me to come back down to that place? No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
And
I love you, but from over there.
that's right.
From over there.
You
And
know,
even family.
and we gonna get to that part with So one thing, Michael Epps shared, and you may have seen this reel a while back. He had shared how when he had filmed Friday, he was like, yo, I was like cooked out of my mind. Like entire year shooting, like I'm in Cube trailer, like cooked out. And he said when he would go home, it was fine. Like with his homies and paraphrasing, but he was like, it was cool. Like they like, oh, he got the money, we get drugs, all of that. And when he decided to get clean and become sober, when he went back home to visit, he was like, I'm still me, like being generous. And they were like, you think you better than everybody. And he was like, he couldn't unhear that. Like, I don't think people, when they say it, they don't have the common sense enough, first of all, to realize what they're saying and how the listening is different. Like, do you hear what you're saying to me?
Right.
Like, so okay, day one home, when your release. Let's go back for a second. The night before you're getting ready to leave the facility, what was that like for you?
I could not sleep. I pulled an all-nighter.
Yeah.
All night long. Because also in my mind, I'm thinking like, is there anything else that I've done that could get me to stay here any longer?
Wow.
And they just not tell me? Because they do that too. They'll wait until the day of your release to tell you like, oh yeah, you have some charges somewhere else, so they come to pick you up.
Yep.
Or, oh, you know what? You got caught with some contraband, so we're going to tack on 30 days. They'll tell you the day that you're supposed to be released, and then don't want you to respond in a way that is only, I'm sorry, I'm not going to say the only way to respond, but that most people would respond.
Absolutely.
Like, let's be realistic.
I have to flip some shit. Like,
exactly.
Like,
I have a date, and you wait until that date to tell me that I have more charges. You could have been told me that. Stop playing with me. Stop playing with me. But that's the system likes to play with you, to play on your emotions, so you can get back to the place where I knew he wasn't any better. I knew she wasn't any better. But boom, let's keep her down.
There we go.
But yeah, so that night I really couldn't sleep, and I had a person who was right next to me who was leaving like either the same day or maybe the day after. I can't really remember. But we were just talking back and forth all night, like, what you gonna do? But what you gonna do? But what you gonna do? Like all night long. People's like, shut up. Like, no.
Like,
we're going home. It's been a long time coming. Yeah. So like, after a certain time frame before you're about to leave, they shut your phone off. You're not allowed to call anybody anymore. I had went around the whole place, and I get, oh girl, you can have this. I realized you need these sweatpants. Here you go. You can have. I had all kinds of commissary, because, and I will say this, I had a family who supported me, and I'm forever grateful. I had a family that made sure I had, when I say every single thing I needed and never wanted for a thing while I was incarcerated the entire time from day one to 5.5 years later. Never ever did I lack anything. Even to the point where one time we did not have any water in the jail, running water. I went to the commissary and purchased cases of water for us to use in our dorm so we can brush our teeth and wash our face. The entire dorm. So I had a family that supported me. But I mean, when I say I gave every single thing away, I still had food, gave it to people who I knew didn't get money, who didn't have outside support.
Mm.
I intentionally gave it to people who I knew needed it. So that night I was like Santa Claus walking around just giving stuff away, giving stuff away. Because I'm like, listen, if they tell me I got something else to do, I'm gonna just go there and deal with whatever I got to deal with. But
Yeah.
these people need it. So I'm gonna give it to them. But I was just in a place of excitement until they called my name.
Mm.
They call you super early in the morning because you got to go down there and just sit down there. And my family was allowed to come and get me and drive me to the halfway house.
Okay.
And so, which was a 6-hour drive to Baltimore. I had to go to the halfway house in Baltimore. And so, up until they called my name, I began to get nervous.
Mm.
And little things in my mind, like, you're going to be right back. You know, you're not really going to do anything with yourself. Go out there, work a little job and make that. All of these things are in my mind at this moment when they're calling my name. And people are just like, oh my goodness, I can't wait to see you later on in life. Like you're going to do so much. In my mind, I'm just like, yeah, right. What I'm going to do? Me, little old Keona. What Keona going to do? These are women who are also, just pieces telling me, I can't wait to see you.
Yeah.
2 years from now, 5 years from now, giving me hugs. I mean, like the kind of hugs that you give. Them hugs that let you know, like, girl, you mean something.
Girl, straighten that spinal cord up.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yes. I mean, women who couldn't even say that same thing to themselves, just speaking life into me when I'm walking into my next, and they not even know it. Yeah. So they call my name. I go down there. And I get to, see my grandmother. My grandmother and I believe it was my cousin were the ones who came to get me. And driving that drive back, that was the first time I released tears of joy.
Yeah.
Because I knew that chapter was behind me, even though I didn't know what I was going to do, because I walked out of there with a Champion sweatsuit. I had some tennis shoes some little Nikes that I ordered off a commissary. The underwear, bra, and socks that I had on and nothing else. I didn't have a dime of my own. I mean, I had some money that I had saved up, while working there, because you have to work there. In a federal prison, you have to have a job. And so, I had a little bit of money that I had saved up, but it couldn't even rent you a room nowhere.
Yeah.
And so, driving home, I was so scared yet happy because I felt like what was next was better than what was behind.
Wasn't it though?
Not even knowing what was next, what it was.
Wow. And how long did you have to be at the halfway house?
6 months.
6 months. So 6 months, and we're gonna fast forward. Keona is home, like home.
Home.
And so I want to definitely get all up into the entrepreneurship space. And I've been curious about, did that come about because you had trouble finding employment? Or was it like, no, you know what, this hustle is up in me and this is the route I want to go? How did that, so you come home and what were the first, let's say, your first 6 months? Like, what was that like?
Oh my goodness, terrible. I had to stay in the halfway house with women who, some of those women were still struggling, addiction, emotionally, struggling with men, because this was a co-ed halfway house. So you had women on one side, and so you had women sneaking men in. It was all kinds of stuff, and me trying not to respond the way that I used to respond, because like you said earlier, Keona can fight. I just choose not to fight in the way that I did. And I was just like, no, y'all not about to be sneaking these niggas in here and they touching other people's stuff, because some of these men don't have anything either.
Yeah. Like,
yeah. You sneaking them in here, y'all getting high, all kinds of stuff. And so, but from the day that I hit the door, so we had to do a blackout period of 7 days where we couldn't call anybody. We couldn't, go anywhere. No job searches outside of there. And so after that 7 days, I hit the pavement like it was nothing that I was afraid of. I
Girl,
said
can't
that
win.
I was going to get a job and somebody was going to hire me. And when I tell you, with so many people, no, we won't hire you. So when people share these lists of places that hire felons, yes, they do hire felons to meet a quota.
There we go.
Taxes. However, it's not real life. You can have somebody walk in there today or tomorrow and they tell that person no to their face just off the
Absolutely.
mere fact that they have a felony.
That's right.
I
That's
know it firsthand. They only allowed that question to be answered because they have to, or they can be sued for discrimination.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
but in
You
real
are so
life, they're not
correct.
hiring you.
I'll have programs and stuff reach out to me and say, hey, is there a list? And I'm like, oh, I don't operate from a list. I don't, because
Yeah.
with me, it has to be a handoff.
Yeah.
Even if I'm working with somebody, because I know that, like, I'm not setting you up to go some honest, no, because about 30 other people that went to that and we're not doing it.
Exactly.
But go here on Tuesday. I'm gonna
Yeah.
call her, let Miss Brenda know you come and tell her Miss Janelle sent you.
Yeah.
That handoff is very important to me, to like a therapist, because like you said, they have to meet a quota. They sizing you up, number one. You know what I mean? This is 2024, and you have people who aren't as worried about returning citizens, but then you have a whole slew of people who are, and that's keeping it real. Like, it ain't it's not a daisy, it's not a cakewalk out here for people.
No, not at all. And you have some people who, once I hear so many no's, I'm going right back to what's comfortable, and that's the streets, where I know I can get my money every single day.
That's right.
I want to say I heard no at least 20 to 25 times.
Wow.
Before I was able to get a job. I got a job at McCormick making seasonings.
Wow, McCormick, girl.
Making seasonings. When I tell you, this small little white man gave me an opportunity. I filled out the application. I had filled that out during my 7-day period on the computer when I was blacked out at the halfway house. He called me the very next week and was like, and I was on the light rail. I didn't have a car, so I'm taking a bus to get to a light rail, to get to another bus. I was on the bus.
Oh yeah.
What I had to do to get to these jobs, to show up face to face. And so he called me back. He was like, hey, I got your application. Can you come for an interview right now? So at the halfway house, when you say you're going to be out for a certain period of time and you're not back at that time, they could violate you.
Yeah.
So I called my case manager. I'm like, listen, I have a job interview right now. Now, mind you, I know that sounds cliche. I know other people have used that and have been lying. So I'm just like, I really do have a job interview. I have to go to this. And so she told me no at first, but I had already got off of the light rail to head back up that way. So I call her back in like 10 minutes. I say, look, I know that you told me no, but I really do need a job. I said, this job is going to hire me, not even knowing at that moment that man was going to hire me. I only talked to that man for not even 2 minutes. I said that I have to go. And she was just like, go ahead and go, but come back as soon as you're done. And she said, bring me something to show me that you really was there. I'm like, all right, cool. Now, I was already on my way back anyway. I get up there, I'm talking to him. Interview goes really well. We had a very good conversation. He just was like, so at the end of the interview, he said, so tell me about this gap in your employment.
That question.
And I feel like as a society, for people who are working in reentry, that is not a question that the inside teaches you how to answer when you're re-entering society. They do not prepare you for basically marketing yourself.
Yes.
They do not prepare you for that whatsoever. So I sat there, and honestly, I was silent at first, and I was just like, And I was going to lie. I was going to lie and just make up something on the spot. My mouth wouldn't even open. So when I opened my mouth, I said I was incarcerated. And I looked, I was just like, dang, I said that, because that's not what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
But it was just like, stop allowing the truth to hold so much weight and so much shame. If you own it, nobody can use it against you in a negative way because you owned it. You told it. How are you going to use something else that I said against me? I owned it.
That's right. That's right.
I owned it in the first place. So you telling me what I already know, babe.
That's right.
So, I told him, I said, I was incarcerated. He said, really? Like, he looked surprised. I said, yes, I was. I was incarcerated for 5.5 years. I had a 7-year sentence. He said, tell me more. He sat back in his chair. He said, tell me more. So I started telling him, and he said, you know what? I'm gonna hire you. I was excited. Didn't even ask how much it was at first or anything.
Right.
So we signing the papers. He did the orientation right then and there.
Oh my goodness.
Did the orientation. I signed the papers. I said, so how much I'm gonna make? He said $9.25. I said, okay.
Yep.
Okay. Because I was making $0.00.
Come on
so
now.
$0 to $9 is a step. So let's go with it. Let's go with it. I went with it, worked there, and I had 2 promotions while I was there. I was bumped up to like 13 to a shift manager. Not even 6 months later. People was there 17 years, 15 years. I had a lady there for 21 years. I became the assistant manager underneath of him, over top of these people who had been there for years. I walked out with a salary. I was a salary employee. Here is this woman. And when I first went, because after I went, back to the halfway house, told her I had a job, they put me on an ankle monitor. I went to work with an ankle monitor because they wanted to make sure that I was going to work every day. Yeah. I went to work with an ankle monitor, and I had to tell him, my boss, that I was on an ankle monitor. So he knew. So to start out at $9.25 and then end up as a salary employee and assistant manager, people was big mad.
Come on now.
Big mad. But I didn't let that stop me because I felt like this is how life looks at me. People in life look at me that you that same person that used to do that. You that same person that used to do X, Y, and Z. Yes, and I'm also the same person that started a business in a 6-figure business that employs other people. I'm also the same person.
You better talk your talk.
I'm also that same person.
Come on now.
Yeah. So don't forget that part of the story.
Oh, yeah.
Don't forget that part.
Like they say, if you're going to paint the picture, use all the colors.
Please do, because they're beautiful.
And how long were you at McCormick?
I was at McCormick for 5 years. And I actually started my business while I was at McCormick because the bills was big.
The bills was big.
And at first, that little $9 really wasn't cutting it. So I'm just like, I have to do something else to supplement the income. I wanted to move out on my own. I ended up getting an apartment, 2-bedroom apartment. Didn't even start with 1, started with 2. Why? I don't even know. End up getting a dog so he can have his own room.
Yes.
Just crazy stuff. So I started my business literally just to supplement the income, to make some money. And then I realized that I actually enjoyed being able to clean other people's homes, businesses, because I loved being able to be in the space of, it was a form of worship for me.
Yeah. Oh.
Because I knew that my hands were anointed, not just me cleaning, but I knew that my hands were anointed to do great work. And being humble enough, because people didn't call me the maid or the janitor, but you don't realize that my hands are anointed. Wow.
That just, I can't believe that people actually say shit like that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
See, that's the stuff that makes me want a windmill. See, I'm still in progress, okay, Keona? But to see someone, like you said, create, own, represent a licensed, active, functioning, 6-figure business, and to bring your lowly self, the things that you feel on that rashy tongue, say, you see how I'm throwing my cheap shots in?
Yes.
Hey, the maid or the janitor, put Mrs. in front of all of that.
Okay.
Like, it's just, but it goes to show you how wounded people are.
Very much.
And that's one of the reasons why the anti-mean girl is a movement, because of like that, and being who we need, and looking at women that you can sit and learn from, and deciding to, no, let me shred her down. Baby, you're not hurting me, you shredding yourself. You actually, your slip is showing.
Okay.
And see, to say this too. I appreciate you being so vocal about the preparation that needs to be taking place behind the fence for people as it relates to being work ready.
Yes.
I made that a mission to say, okay, look, it's your story. And
Mhm.
you have no idea by the time they actually get to the question and want to know about the gap, they've already gauged your personality.
Very much.
So they like who they're talking to, and that makes them, okay, now let's talk about this. I said, by the time that background comes back, they can't forget the person that they met.
Right.
And the confidence, as difficult as it is to, okay, I'm gonna speak it, the boldness, the confidence, and the courage that it takes to say, I'm telling the story, I'm not running from, you're gonna get yourself a yes eventually. And then the other thing that I realized, and this was from my own experience with my son, like going into courtrooms with him and the judge saying, after the public defender, because we ain't got no money for no lawyer, after the public defender says what they got to say, state's attorney says what they got to say, and that judge is not paying attention to either of them while they're talking.
No.
In the paperwork and the file, like whatever,
Yep.
they look over them little beady glasses and say, is there anything you'd like to say?
Mm-hmm.
The amount of, I see mainly Black men, but Black women, just period, people, period, when they're asked that question, for them to say, no. Just, I want to jump over like, yo, no, don't do that.
Yeah.
So telling them, one of the things I do now is, no, the first thing I want you to throw in their face is, I've met the reentry navigator.
Right.
For a city. And I've never heard anything about reentry support, any of that before. And I help them say it in their own language. And I tell them, while you are owning what you did, right? While you're owning what you did, the thing that you're putting back in their face is, this ain't your first time seeing me in this system.
Right.
But this is my first time having support. No, you're going to let me go home and get this work. You're going to let me do that.
Yeah.
So showing people how to advocate for themselves.
Yes.
But in your experience, like you said, if that ain't anointing for you to be ready to go back to the halfway house, do you call them like, can you come right now?
Right now.
It said, no, come on back. No, I'm not gonna give up. I'm calling back. Okay, go ahead and come back. He like, tell me more. I'm hiring you on the spot. The elevation, like, do you? And we didn't even talked about the business shop. We're going there next.
Mm-hmm.
Do you really see how amazing you are? Like, we know we got the anointing and all this thing. Has it taken your breath away yet? Like, for real, for real?
I will say at times, I don't even really understand it fully when I think back on it, because there are times now that I still will go back to those journals.
Yeah.
And look at the thought processes and the things that I was thinking then, because I'm a sexual assault survivor. I'm a suicide attempt survivor. Those were all things that I was writing about in those journals. And it's like, that woman, like, even when I just go back and read it, I bawl tears for the woman, because she never got to voice those things. So when people, give me the opportunity now, and when I speak about it, I give a voice to that version of Keona.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do. You got me worked up. Do you see this? You got me worked up. I told you I'm a G. Yes. I'm a G. But no, I appreciate that, because that is such a struggle for me personally. You know what I mean? Just kind of look around and first of all, find forgiveness for myself with things I like. It's okay. It's okay to be gentle. I was talking to my girlfriend, Nikki, the one who was the keynote at the brunch.
She's amazing.
Girl, that's my dog. Yo, when I tell you she go from hugging me to like, girl.
Oh.
And I was telling her yesterday, I had just been kind of struggling around like my creativity, deciding whether or not I want to venture out back into the lane of romance, like self-expression. I was like, I don't know what to do. And so she was like, nothing. I think it's time for you to enjoy yourself, Janelle.
Yeah.
When is the last time you, and I got like a lump in my throat, and I'm like, so I was like, you know what it is? Like, once somebody, it's like when somebody said, what's wrong? You like, you don't even have to know what's wrong, but you're gonna cry instantly.
Yes.
But like, you know what it is? I said, because I felt like I wasted and lost so much time. It's like I want to take advantage of every day and do something because I know what darkness looks like for me. I know what stillness looks like for me. Yeah. And it's like, I keep still, I don't want to be in here, blinds closed, not shouting.
Yes.
Rated that, and she said, but that's not who you are anymore.
Mm.
So I was like, okay, but still like taking that in, like taking that in.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
why I asked you that question, like, what does that look like for you? I know that every day probably it's like, you safe here. Like, this is who you are. This is who you are.
It's like because let me be honest, it's not a first response for me to realize the magnitude of who I am. Not my first response. And when I do get to the place of realizing, it's just like an awe type thing. It's like a humbling moment type thing. Even with my husband, because I had to get to a space where I was able to accept the love that he was giving me.
And that man loves you down to that pinky toe.
Okay.
That's my dog. Y'all remember when y'all like, yo, something. And I was like, yeah. He's like, oh, Keona.
Even
Oh,
being able to accept love was a process and is still a process for me, because there are still triggers. And so I sometimes respond out of a trigger before I think about it. And I have to be like, you know what? I do apologize. Give me some time and we can come back to this. So I'm learning now to be vocal about I need some time to process this because I don't want to respond in the first way that I want to respond, which is not a rational way. So give me some time and we can come back to it. And it's a process. That sums it up. It's a process, an everyday working process. It's not a I have arrived moment. It's not a I am here moment. It's a work in progress every single day. Every day. Every day. Every day in every way.
Yes.
A progress.
I'll tell people, I'll say it's like pretty much hourly for me because at like 8 a.m. I'm like, yes, the sun is shining. By noon, I'm like,
yeah.
5 o'clock, I'm meditating.
Yes.
Like I'm just all over. But the fact that we go through it, like we don't stay stuck in any of it. So you make sure you stay gentle with yourself in all those spaces. And I see you doing that. And I love that for you. Yeah. Okay, so let's go back real quick. So you are doing both. You're doing the cleaning and then you are doing McCormick. And when did you realize like, oh, wait a minute. All right, McCormick, thank you. But all right.
So honestly, during COVID.
Wow.
During COVID is when I felt the push. Like God was just speaking to me that and don't get me wrong, I made good money with McCormick.
Yeah.
So the money wasn't an issue. But my comfortability in one place was the issue because I was comfortable where I was because I was thriving.
Okay.
My business full-time was somewhere I had to depend on prayer and God. Like could not just rely on Keona. And McCormick, Keona was good because Keona knew that she had the skills and the characteristics and the know-how to get whatever it was done. I was comfortable. I knew how to do that job with my eyes closed. And so stepping into an unfamiliar space, not knowing the outcome, I couldn't just rely on myself. And so during COVID, I would say 2021, maybe going into 2022 is when I just became full-time in my business. And it was just like, put your 2 weeks in. And I'm just like, 2 weeks. 2 weeks. And I hesitated for 2 months before I did it. And stuff just kept going crazy at work. Like this person wasn't showing up. Like it was stuff that wasn't happening the entire time.
Yeah.
So it was just like when you stay in a place too long, when you know you're supposed to exit, all hell breaking loose.
Girl, you better
all hell breaking loose. Everything going wrong. People talking to you all kinds of crazy. The place that you used to be in is being tested. Every single thing started happening. And I'm just like, hold up now. What's really going on? But I knew, why. I knew why. Put that 2 weeks in. And when I say it was like peace, it was like you ever seen a thunderstorm? And I mean like storm where it's like blowing the trees, rain just pouring down, and literally out of nowhere, you look out and you see the sun shining and it's a rainbow. It felt like that. It literally felt like that. In just a blink of an eye, the sun was out after I put in that notice of my 2 weeks. And my boss tried to compensate me more to get me to stay. He wanted to change my hours. He was like, is it the hours? And I was already working 6 to 2. Is it the hours? We could change the hours. He tried everything in his power to get me to stay. I even went back and forth. I'm like, well, I could stay for a little bit longer. I had to really work on my no. This is what I put my 2 weeks in. And I want to say my 2 weeks was up like right before my birthday in like 2022. And so I was going to go on vacation. And I was just like, okay, I don't want to come back and still have this job. I know what I heard and I got to act. I left and it was just like, I was so peaceful. I was like, I don't know where this paycheck coming from, but I was peaceful, living life on vacation, just doing it up, you know, just living, going shopping, just do all kinds of stuff. And I came back and I was just like, okay, I don't know what this is going to look like, but I'm ready. And I started out with a vision board, literally a vision board for my business. Wrote down wants, needs, and prayers. And so I started just writing things down on what I needed to accomplish in order to legitify my business, because I was running my business, but it wasn't legitimate in the beginning.
Gotcha.
Where I had, certain things in order or whatever. And so I just started running down the list, doing it, knocking every single thing off. And then I don't even understand what happened, because people just started coming from out of nowhere. People I never knew, never heard of, calling my phone. And I'm just like, they're like, hey, can you come today? I need it. All right, cool. Hey, can you come today? I need it. All right, cool. And then it got to the point where I ended up having to hire somebody else. And so even in that space, I'm just like, okay, God, don't leave me out here on my own, because now I got to help somebody else with their income, not just me. This is somebody else's livelihood that's dependent on me. We got to make this work. And then, one person turned into 2 people, 2 people turned into 3 people. And it kept going. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, it's a whole business.
A whole business.
A whole business. We really got a business and clients. And, it's to the point now where I have to hire somebody, or we cannot take more clients at this moment. Yeah. And it's just like, even when I say that, I'm just like,
girl, you put a pause in me. I'm like, we got to sit in that thing for a second. Overflow.
And now, overflow. All from a yes that I didn't even want to give.
Yeah. And it shook that thing up like, wait a minute, earthquake, let it rip. Take action. There we go. My God, Keona.
And this, and just talking about this now, it makes you realize like the stuff that you sit on because you're not comfortable, not realizing the doors that it opens when you actually move. It ain't gonna be released until you move. Why am I release it to you when you comfortable with your feet kicked up, chilling, laid back? Right. I'm waiting on you to move so I can release it. I can't release it if you don't move and you comfortable. So what you gonna do?
Girl, you schooling me. Look, I knew I was gonna get my collar in this joint. I knew it, and I'm sitting here. I kid you not, swelling everything I love. I'm like, God, I needed this. Oh, I needed this. Oh, I needed this. Just the oh my goodness, doing it afraid. Oh. You know what? You are such an example of doing it afraid. Doing it about like, okay, what you say? Okay. Let me ask again. No, I'm not gonna. Oh yeah, I heard you say no, but I'm not gonna take that one. Let me ask again. And
right,
girl, you need to look. You need a TED talk, a shop, like all those things. See, I should have talked to your ass sooner because you'd have been on that panel. But that's okay. I got you. Next brunch coming up. Keona is on
2.0, I'm there.
it is beyond a testimony. Like I know, testimonies are amazing, but I feel like that word is just it's too small because to have gone through so much, to have gone through much, and we ain't even scratched the surface. You know what I mean? Ain't even scratched the surface, but to know the things that led you through different doors, and each door you kind of push out, and it's like keep going. Like I was about to say what's next, but let me find out you and Ice gonna be posing with that lottery check or something like that. Like when we are in the presence, of people that just have this anointing, and we talk about this like at the brunch and just kind of like on social media, just being really mindful with your boundaries, and everybody can't come. Yeah. But even a distance, the people need to take note. Like they need to take note. You'd rather sit back and judge, talking about something, the janitor, the maid, like, yo, you might want to get the cleanup.
Okay.
Have her come up in that house and touch some things.
Okay. Because literally every single time we go into somebody, and I don't actually go on every single job, but every person's home that I enter, I am praying for your well-being, every single person. And so sometimes people don't realize, they're like, oh girl, I'm gonna call you when you get off work. Please don't. Please don't.
How about that?
Yeah, because I need to decompress, because it's not all about physical, but the spiritual part for me that people don't realize, it's a lot.
That's right.
It's a lot. And being in other people's spaces and realizing that other people don't always have the same things in their home.
That's right.
And so I have to be mindful of what the people who I employ have as well. So I'm covering them.
That's right.
As well. So it's not just about business and you doing business and you doing, it's spiritual as well.
Yeah, it is. That spiritual and that emotional part, because even in the most pristine homes, where you might be like, y'all didn't really need no cleaning, the things that you realize when you are in people's spaces, you get to see how they live. You get to see struggle without them even realizing it. You know what I mean? Like the where we rest, where we release, where we feel stuff, you can tell a lot about a person, and they don't even have to. So I can imagine going into a space like I'm in. The mission is for me to tidy up things, but there's also a spiritual mission. Yeah, you come. Let me tidy up some things for you. So y'all call her when she getting off. Like, no, man. No, I got to do that. Gotta release. Got the altar for you. Like, man. So now give me the official name of the business and tell the people where they can find you.
So the official name is Keona's Cleaning and Janitorial Services. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook. You can go to my website, www.keonascleaning.net, N-E-T. That's the website. You can always send us a text. You can find the number on any of those platforms. Do not call my personal cell. If you have it, call my business line.
And don't send no text talking about what you charge. Go across the website, look and find out the conditions and the services. Let's be simple.
Because it's there. It's there. It's there.
And can we shout out the dope ass commercial? Right? That when I'm gonna tell you, I ain't gonna hold you. I know I watched that joint like 10 times. Like, yo,
thank you.
It was who was that Ice in the background?
No, that was actually my sister who also works with me. That was my baby sister. And listen, when I tell you, when you think about the people who you absolutely have to thank for your business, my grandmother for one, because when I tell you all that I know comes from this woman who also works with me as well.
Go ahead, Mama.
Still to this day.
Go ahead.
But my baby sister, left her full-time job, came with me full-time. My baby sister is one who I absolutely have to thank because, hey, Maya, I need you to do this today. Hey, Maya, I need you to do this today. Hey, Maya, you know, my sister can't do this, so I need you to do. Maya does it all. And I absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. When people say, oh, family don't support, I can't relate.
Come on now.
I cannot relate because my family goes above and beyond for what my mother works with me as well. Like my husband, he a part-time employee as well. Like
now,
when it comes to my family, I'm grateful. I'm grateful.
And the examples and the curse breaking, the generational healing that you all have planted in the soil for your nieces, nephews, kids, this stuff, your kids, everybody, like, I'm telling you, I take my hats off to you. Anybody else you want to shout out? We don't want to leave nobody out.
I want to shout out you because you are so dope. The anointing that you carry, oh my gosh.
Oh, Keona.
I really wish that you saw you the way that I see you. Baby, you are amazing. The way that you pour into people, I really pray that you get that double fold because you're pouring into people, the emotional part of it, the spiritual part of it. Money can't buy that. Money can't buy that. So I really pray that you get that back double in all aspects of life, because what you do and the platform you've created is simply amazing. And you showing up in each and every space where you show up, just Janelle is enough.
Girl,
with no additives, just Janelle is enough. That's, girl, let me do a t-shirt. Just Janelle is enough.
Thank you. I'm gonna write that on my black cashmere and some lipstick. But no, seriously, thank you, man. It's no words. It's no words. Thank you. Like, you said it earlier when we started, you know, being who we needed. And, you know, I know that a lot of us can come across social media and just in life period, be like half crazy with stuff like, girl, go sit down somewhere, or dude, what is wrong with you? But the amount of lessons and just guidance and the energy I receive from you guys with you being vulnerable, you know what I mean? Being so vulnerable, being transparent, and being able to, from a distance, watch the steps. It's like, yeah, that's what I need. I see that. I need to see the people that's like, yep, check out my heart space. This is what my walk has been. And I'm still walking. I'm still learning. I'm still
every day.
Like, y'all have no idea just how much it pours into me. And that's what makes me want to just pour back out. Like, no, we all need this. Keona, I'm so grateful for you. And I'm going to lay into you when I see you, because you done got me all bristly around the eyes about 3 times up in here. But
I love you so much. Oh my, you think that we've been friends for years.
Oh man.
Yeah. It's just that connection.
So amazing when I heard my guy talk about you when you all were dating, and to see him in this brown skin way blush, you know what I mean? Like, yo, something. And I'm like, you know, it made me happy for him, because I know how much he deserves that. I know that heart space, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And before we even saw each other, like, we would see each other, you and I, like, randomly, hey girl, hey.
Yeah.
Coming down 97 that day, girl, that was one of my lowest days. And I'm driving and I see you, and we like blowing.
I was so happy to see you.
Oh my God. It shifted me.
Oh my goodness.
It shifted me. You just never know what you pour into somebody, man. You just don't, with them being directly connected, but you've been pouring a long time. And like I kicked this platform off, I was like, oh no, I'm getting Keona up in here. And I love sharing y'all with everybody. Like, I love the people that's like, yo, I needed that. I need it. So it gives me time to be like, girl, so tell me all about it.
Yeah.
Full, and I'm grateful for that. Like, you could be resting. You know what I mean? You could be doing anything. Cooking and getting that chicken salad prep. I know you involved in that chicken salad. But thank you. Thank you so much for stepping into the garden.
Thank you for having me. Just thank you.
Thank you. So stay with me for a second. Don't go nowhere.